Hey there, friends. This is Xochitl with Sociology. So excited to be here today with another really cool topic on this episode of Sociology. But before I continue, if you guys can please do me a favor and go to that little subscribe button and just click on it for me, as I'm going to be covering some really cool subjects and I don't want you to miss out on any of them. So, today I wanted to talk about something that I guess I experienced, and I guess per se, a lot of the subjects that I'm going to be covering on this channel is things that I've experienced. But the more I dig deeper into some of these things, I'm not the only one that's been through this. So, this is the great thing about this platform and this channel is that I'm going to be covering topics that are relatable to many. So, the topic today is self-imposed judgment. Eek, right? I know, it seems kind of heavy, right? Or I should say, maybe not heavy, but it seems like something we don't want to accept. Something that you kind of almost want to just erase and put in the back of your head, like that this is not really happening, okay? Because I admit here in front of everyone, I've done that many times. So, where does self-imposed judgment come from? And why do we do it? Well, I'm going to speak for myself. It's got to be some sort of insecurity, right? Insecurity is something that we probably all have experienced at some point, whether it's something that affected us from our upbringing, or maybe we were mistreated by someone that caused us to be insecure. Maybe it's something we're going through physically, mentally, financially, spiritually. So many factors, right? It's like a big melting pot of like feelings and emotions and circumstances from an outside force or an inside force that leave us feeling this way. So, yeah, insecurities is not a cool thing, and they always say, stop being insecure, don't be insecure, and you shouldn't be insecure. When people are saying that to you, they're looking at the outside, at the external part of a person versus the inside. Because, yeah, you could be a 10 on the outside, but if you feel like a negative 10 on the inside, the insecurities are going to just pop up. So, when I think of self-imposed judgment, that's the first factor that I feel takes or plays a huge role in being in judging yourself. And as for me personally, yeah, a lot of factors did play into that, but I know I mentioned in my intro video, and also I'm going to talk about this throughout my platform, this channel, is me being a first immigrant into the United States. A lot of more than I want to admit, and I'm saying this here in front of all of you, that really impacted me in many different ways. When you're kind of split between you're not Mexican enough, you're not American enough, or you are too Mexican, whatever it may be. Oh, you forgot your culture. I mean, I've had relatives tell me, "Oh, you don't think you're Mexican, or you're not Mexican enough." Comments like that. Although you're young and you're very, very, very resilient, absolutely. As you grow up, you become stronger, but you can't help but things kind of play with your psyche a little bit. And like I was saying in my intro video, some people are able to go through situations a little bit more swiftly and just kind of go through it and keep going and not let a lot of things bother them and not internalize certain things. But other people like myself, I've been told this many times by friends and my sisters, as a matter of fact, you read into things way too much. Like I'll sit here with something in my brain and I'll just be like picking it apart, picking it apart and digesting it. When I can easily just move on with my life and be happy. So that 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 is kind of a big deal. um yeah, self-imposed judgment is tough. It's really tough. So friends, how do we choose to not be in this state of mind, to wallow in self-imposed judgment? Because if we let it overtake us, forget it, it's a wrap. Like we could be a hot mess for a long time. Right? Maybe years. you know how do we make that conscious decision to say, you know what, I'm not going to do this to myself. I'm not going to torture myself. Whatever the situation is, and mind you guys, I just gave you guys an example of me. This could apply in many different factors, because this situation of self-imposed judgment, it can relate to any situation that you might be going through. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you're going through a divorce. Maybe you're going through, I don't know, maybe you lost your home. It could be a mountain of situations. So if you just kind of mold this to your situation, it applies to anything. So how do we choose to get out of the state of mind where you're not going to beat yourself up and judge yourself based on your current situation or something that happened to you in the past or something that someone did to you? How do we do this? And I guess I'm just going to put myself out there because I'm the one discussing this here. How did I choose to overcome self-imposed judgment? It like I mentioned earlier, when you're split between being too much or not being good enough, or people throwing opinions, unwanted opinions, I should say, of what you're not enough of or too much of, how do we move on? And honestly, it's a process where you have to really separate what's important, what really matters, and what really doesn't matter. It's truly a conscious choice. And with that, you have to tell yourself, is this really who I am? Or is this just something that's happening to me at the moment? Because if it's something that's happening to you, it's not a definition of who you are. So you have to literally have a fine line between who you are and what's happening to you. Because let's just say that you lost your job, okay? Company closed, and all of a sudden, boom, you're out of a job. That's not who you are. You want to work. You want to continue thriving in your job or whatever it may be, the situation. But the company closed. So now you're out of a job. So you can easily be hard on yourself and say, oh my God, like I'm not providing for my family. How am I going to do this? How am I going to overcome this? And all of a sudden, all these things start like piling up on your head and it becomes heavy. And if you're lacking finances due to losing your job, then you become insecure because you're not financially where you want to be, or you're not able to provide. This is just another way of looking at it, this example. So self-imposed judgment is a pretty harsh thing. It's almost like like torturing yourself. And why would we torture ourselves when we're all we have? Yes, we have our family, but we are solely responsible for ourselves, our body, our soul, our train of thoughts, our mental health. So why not be kind to ourselves And like I said, divide those situations. Like for me personally, when I was judged for, oh well, you're so American, and I'm like, I'm so American just because we live in the United States. Like, I'm like, I'm not living some high life. Like you're seriously tripping right now. Like, anyway, that's a whole nother a whole nother subject. But that's crazy how people just judge, and then all of a sudden someone else's judgment becomes your self-imposed judgment because they view you as you're so this and you're so that, when really you're just trying to live your life. You know what I mean? So we have to separate opinions that matter and opinions that don't matter, and this, again, like I said, this can apply to a lot of situations. If you're surrounded by people that are toxic and that are just like energy suckers, it's time to cut people off. Like, peace out. You know what I mean? And the same thing goes for things in our head. If it's something that's not adding positivity to our brain or to our spirit, to our life, you got to cut that off. Life is precious, and we have to turn those things around, that self-judgment, and turn it into self-love. Like, I love me. What I'm going through right now is going to take me to a better place. This hardship or this situation that I'm going through is only temporary. Everything is temporary. Everything is temporary. So we have to look at it as just a moment in time that's taking us to the next level. And I always talk about the next level because in life, we're always trying to do the next best thing, to grow, to evolve. So all those things that were imposed on me at one time, and obviously I'm referring to the word judgment right now. You got to take those things and just use them to your advantage, and help them empower you. And it's not even about proving anybody wrong, or like, oh, well, I'm going to show you. Absolutely not, because you're doing it for the wrong purpose. The purpose has to be within and for yourself. And everything else will fall into place. Everything else will fall into place. You gotta just enjoy the process, enjoy the healing, the progress that you make mentally or physically. If you're going through something physically, you got to enjoy the process and, document it. If you document it, now that's pretty cool, because if you document it, you can sit back and be like, oh man, like I went through this in like 2 years ago. I don't know if you guys like journaling or not, but journaling is a great way to go through something like this. If you're going through something, like, write down your thoughts, give yourself 10 minutes, write it down, and just be like, hey, this is what I'm going through, da 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 da, and just put all your thoughts on paper. That's another way that you can actually, a great way to go through something like this, because as opposed to letting it sit in your brain and like dissect it like I was doing, you just write it down and like leave your thoughts on paper. Isn't that kind of cool? Yeah. Journaling is like a great way to go through situations. So yeah, do that. And from there, you just kind of reference back like, oh man, like I can't believe I went through this. Like, I'm pretty proud of myself. I'm stronger than I thought I was. And then all that self-imposed judgment turns into something like powerful. All of a sudden you're like, yes, girl, like I got this. I overcame this. You start feeling like more confident, more secure, and you start attracting things that are more positive and more aligned with who you really are. And that's what we want. We want to align with things that are positive and like that are really good, So anyway, I really enjoyed this subject, or this topic. And I want to reference back to it because, as I was saying in my intro video, I'm growing in front of all of you, and I want to see all of you grow in front of me as we kind of get to know each other and also share experiences. And I want to know how you're going through this. How are you dealing with self-imposed judgment? Because I know I'm not the only one going through this. So if you are experiencing something, like, let me know what your thoughts are on my perspective, and I want to hear yours. Maybe we can help each other, so we're all here to grow. So anyway, I thank you guys for listening to me. And I really enjoyed talking about this. And the more that I got into this conversation, I want to, like I said, reference back to it, because this is something that we need to talk about, So very cool. I hope you guys enjoyed this little episode of Sociology on self-imposed judgment. And I will see all of you soon on my next episode. Everyone have an amazing night. Take care.